Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Obviously, it's the preseason game number 2 in the books. Wasn't so great as game number 1, wasn't it? See, that's why I was telling everybody to pump the brakes. Because Buffalo, way better than Miami. Way better. Buffalo is, a lot of people think they could go to the Super Bowl. So, but let's get started. So we know the score was 41-15. There are some things to talk about. Let's talk about Dalton and Fields first. So Andy was in. Of course, he's the starter. He was 11 for 17, and he had one touchdown and one interception. And there's a little cool little note about the touchdown. He threw the touchdown to number 13, Rodney Adams, and he is trying to make the team. He's a wide receiver, and it was a 73-yard touchdown. And the really cool part is the night before, Rodney and his wife had their first baby girl. So then he didn't have any sleep, apparently. He came, he played the game, and he scored a touchdown for her baby. So I think that's great. He's been in the league 2 years. Just to give you a little Adams info. He was with the Colts and the Vikings, and then he signed with the Bears in the offseason. So he's trying to make it as a wide receiver. So, good luck to him. So those were Andy's numbers. They were okay. Our line, they weren't great yesterday, but they weren't terrible. Okay, so they were like, I'm going to give them a 50-50 grade. Fields was 9 for 19 with only 80 yards throwing and 46 yards rushing, no TDs, and no turnovers. Now, he made some good plays. The problem with what happened, many things with the defense, with the offense yesterday was penalties. What do I say? If you listen to my show, what I say about it. The Bears had 10 penalties for 73 yards yesterday. You're not going to win games doing that. And they were 0 for 11 on third down conversions. What the F is that all about? Terrible. I mean, that's terrible. They would do... And the Bears, and this is the other thing, they got the ball first in the game, 3 and out. They had, that I counted, at least 4 3 and outs, if not more, yesterday. And then when they did start to move the ball, they would either, the penalties would push them back. They had back-to-back penalties at one point yesterday. Fields throws like a 46-yard pass, and then they have penalties that bring it back. You just can't do that. You can't. I tell you, these penalties are killing them. They're beating themselves. Now, yesterday, the rushing game, it was okay. Wasn't that great. Williams was in the first half, number 8. Darnell Williams was running most of it. And then Herbert, number 24, who I really like. I mentioned last week. He's a really standing out. I think this guy's going to make the team. I hope he does. We did draft him this year. So he's number 24. And he looked good. He was the high spot. But we ran attempted 17 times for 86 yards. And that was all of them together. Not going to cut it, Nagy. Not going to cut it. And the line had a little bit to do with it, too. But the penalties were just killing them. Like I said, they would move the ball, penalties, back. It was just killer. Then our defense. In my opinion yesterday, I thought that the Bears' first-team defense looked tired, slow, stale. They did not look that good to me. The only one that was standing out was Ogletree, who's trying to make the team. He was signed, and he's a linebacker who stood out last week. He's number 44, yes. And he was actually in with the first team yesterday. I noticed that. And then he played later. He was a bright spot. He's not going to be a starting linebacker unless he beats somebody out. I don't know, but Ogletree is all over the place. That guy does impress me. He is somebody, number 44, to look at. Seriously, next week if he's in. I just don't know how they're going to play next week's game, so we'll talk about that too. The Bears' defense did have 2 turnovers, so that was a bright spot. You always like turnovers, and that's something the Bears have to concentrate a lot on this year is the turnovers. They have to get more turnovers. Do not give up turnovers. Get them. Special teams, with the exceptions of the punter and the field goal kicker, were terrible. They were. O'Donnell is a great punter. He is continuously gets better each year. He was knocking them, and some might say he was out kicking his coverage, but in my opinion, he didn't because his hang times were so good. But the team couldn't get down there. And then when they got down there, they missed tackle after tackle. I could have made some of those tackles. What the hell? They looked terrible. I mean, special teams, particularly yesterday, was a big letdown. They gave up a lot of yards. I didn't even want to look it up because I didn't want to know. But bad, bad, and bad. So Nagy's got some work to do there, that's for sure. But O'Donnell, like I said, he was nailing them. And then we had the Brian Johnson. He's a backup to, they always like to have somebody in the wings. I don't think they'll keep 2 kickers. But so Santos didn't do anything yesterday. Brian Johnson was doing the field goal kicks, and he got a 54-yarder. That was sweet. So that was a nice spot. So our kickers are not the problem. Special teams is the problem. And that's another really big part of your team that has to shine. You gotta, you got O'Donnell that kicks a 75-yard punt, and then the special teams let the team run 60 yards up the field with it. I was not impressed. I got to tell you what. So the things that really did not impress me yesterday, special teams, our first team defense, not impressed at all. They did not look good. I don't know. We just didn't look together yesterday. I don't know. I was pretty disappointed. But I'll tell you what. Then, you could say our first team defense did not look good. They sucked. They slow. They apparently got out of bed late yesterday. And, or, on the other hand, you could say Mitchell. Remember Mitchell Trubinsky, our old quarterback? Looked freaking good. I'm telling you, that guy looked great. And I am so happy for him. Out of the 2 quarters he played, they only had 1 3 and out. Every other time, they scored. It was, I don't know. They might have had 1 punt, but regardless Mitch only had 1 3 and out. So he was moving the ball up and down the fields. He wasn't making mistakes. I got to tell you what. Probably the best thing that ever happened to him was to get away from Chicago and Nagy, especially Nagy. And I was kind of happy. I thought it could have been better. He got a pretty warm reception yesterday in Soldier Field. I don't know where Wrigley Field came from. But you do know that back in the day, in the 50s, and I think early 60s, that's when the Bears played in Wrigley Field. My father-in-law went and saw a game. He said it was absolutely awesome in Wrigley Field. But let's get back to Mitchell. But the fans, they could have given him a better applause and welcome because, Mitchell always worked hard when he was with the Bears. He never criticized. He took responsibility for everything. He was a good guy. He just got treated badly by Nagy. Nagy messed him up. He goes to Buffalo to back up Josh Allen. So, Josh Allen's the starter. But I'll tell you what, they got 2 first-string quarterbacks because Mitchell looked really good, whether you want to admit it or not. And this is my prediction. And you remember, you heard it here. I think Mitchell's going to get traded during the season from Buffalo to another team. Another team that either needs a starter or a bona fide backup. And after watching the Rams game last night, they need backups. Their quarterbacks behind Matthew Stafford, which I was kind of bummed that he didn't play in last night's game. But they need backups because their quarterbacks were horrible. So I would not be surprised if you see Mitchell get traded. Because his contract is, what, $2 million? That's nothing in football. I mean, $2 million. Hey, man, I could be living my life. I'd be doing this show on a jet. Yeah, right. But yeah, so that's my prediction. Let's keep an eye on it. But Mitchell, so was it the defense was bad and lazy? Or was Mitchell just that good? That's what I wonder, right? Now, Fields, we're not going to beat up on him. It was second game. He's still got a lot to learn, people. That's why I said everybody last week, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. He was playing Miami, and he was playing against the second and third stringers. Like he did yesterday, he didn't play against the first. Now, it would be nice to see him with the first team. Now, there's only one more game left in the season, and usually, so I'm not sure what's going to happen next week, because when there was 4 games in the preseason, by the third game of the 4 games in preseason last year, or the year, not last year, but the year before and the year before that, they always played their starters to the first half. And then they sit them, and that's it. And they never played in the 4th game unless a starter was trying to make the team again. The 4th game is usually for the coaches to evaluate the guys that are trying to make the team, second and third stringers, special teamers, those kind of guys. So I don't know what next week's game is going to look like. Are the one team, the number 1 team's going to play again? Is Fields going to play with the number ones? I don't think so. I think that because they have to cut players, so this is their last game scenario with some of these young players. I think they're going to play more of the guys who are trying to make the team, guys they need to evaluate. I will not be seeing that show. I will be I will be gone. I have to go to a family wedding, so I won't be around. I'll be probably flying in the air at the time, so I won't see the game, and I won't be doing a show next week. So the next time you see me do a show will be the week of 9/12. That's the week the Bears play their first game in Los Angeles. They're playing the Rams Sunday night on the 12th of September. So, you know what? I got to tell you, they got a lot of work to do. Nagy still has a lot of work to do. Everybody got a little too, woo, after the first game, and the reality sunk in. The one thing, the second string and third string defenses, they didn't allow any points in the second half. All 41 points were scored in the first half. So that's a bright spot, although they had their second and third strings in there too. So it is really difficult to judge preseason per se. Plus, they're doing some stuff. A lot of times, the Bears, there was one time they were down on their 5-yard line because of penalties. They didn't get a touchdown. And instead of going for the field goal, which was a chip shot, they tried the 2-point conversion, didn't get it. So there's a lot of things that they wouldn't necessarily do in a regular season game that they do in preseason. So it is really hard to judge, but I really think that they have a lot of work to do still. And Andy Dalton is going to start the season, folks. It is just going to be. Fields still has some work. Like, here's an example. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. If you watch the game, it was in the third quarter, I believe, and it was a little scary, Fields did not pick up the blitz. The guy was coming, cornerback was coming in and he was lined up. He was right there, but Fields did not pick it up, and he almost had his head taken off. If you saw it, his helmet was knocked off. There was a 15-yard penalty, which gave us a first down in that because he went after his head, the defensive player. But Fields did not see it at all. So that's something he's got to work on. Then, in the fourth quarter, they tried to do that rush again. They tried to have one of the same guys do an outside so that they could sack him. Fields saw it this time and got rid of the ball. So he's learning. There's some things, he's got a lot to learn, And he said last week after the game was slower than he thought. He was really excited because, they always say the game, you come out of college and you play the NFL. It's fast. And he's like, no, I thought it was slow. You might want to keep your mouth shut on that. See, preseason's different. Like last week when I pointed this out to my son, last week when Fields ran in for the touchdown, there was a guy, and he was right there. He just pushed him. If that were a regular season game, I guarantee he would have tackled him when he was going into the end zone. They're not doing that stuff in preseason. They're playing, but they're not, these starters are not giving you 100% because they don't want anybody to get hurt. They don't want to get hurt. So they're not hitting you exactly the way they would in the regular season. So, him saying the game wasn't as fast as he thought, you might want to keep your mouth shut because to me, teams that you play, they read that. Yeah, you hear what that punk, that rookie Fields said in Chicago? He doesn't think the game is fast. He's got it. Let's show him. That is bulletin board enthusiasm for another team. They put that up on the bulletin board and the players see it every day they walk out. The defense sees them and they touch it and they say, yeah, we'll welcome you to the NFL. So, Fields, I like him, respect him. I'm happy he's here, but he's got to watch what he says. Do not give them motivation to take your head off, okay? That's all I'm saying. So there was a lot of stuff that happened yesterday, and I just kind of did the overall, gave you the stats, and again, the penalties. I'm telling you guys, you know how I feel about that. You've got to have 5 or less. I mean, you can still win when you have more penalties like that, but time after time after time yesterday, you threw a good pass, boom, it comes back holding. Boom, it's illegal formation. What were some of the other ones? Just dumb shit. And I know it's preseason, so let's get it out of our system anyways. Let's get it out of our system right now. So, because these penalties, this is a thing of Nagy. It is a thing. His teams always have penalties. So, you don't see the good teams, constantly having penalties. So that's my bugaboo right there, and it is. The other thing is I wanted to say is I thought this would really make you laugh. Now, this is preseason, and I said last week, it's preseason for me too. So last week, I did my show, did the whole show, and I don't always go back and listen to them, but some of them I just turn them on for a second just to make sure the sound sounds right. Do you know what? I did the whole show, and there was no sound. I forgot to turn. See, I use a microphone now, so I forgot to turn that portion on. I thought I did through the computer, and I didn't. Oh, my God, I was pissed, but I laughed. So then I had to do another show. So I don't think it was good, the second one I had to do, because I had to do it right away, and I was annoyed as hell. But at least it makes you laugh, right? Yeah, because, pickled brain, I'm 63, been around a long time, and, you just never know what Lynn's gonna do, or what she won't, because I'm just one kooky lady, but I love my bears, and I love you guys, and I thought I'd add one more, my segment, what I did over the summer. So my last one was, in July, I had a niece and nephew who got married last year. We were supposed to have the wedding. Now, I might have told this story. I don't know. But, and they were supposed to get married in August. We were going to have the wedding party, the reception in my cousin's backyard. Huge backyard in Lake Zurich. Awesome. And obviously because of the frickin' COVID, we couldn't. So this July, they had, on their 1 year anniversary, they had their wedding reception in Lake Zurich. And a bunch of us flew in. And we went and we just had a great, great time. We were outside drinking, eating, fire was going. We had a blast until it started raining. And they had giant tents, so we could stand under the tents. That wasn't the problem. The problem was the mosquitoes came out. I don't miss them at all. They don't have mosquitoes per se in Vegas. I've been here 4 years, have not seen one mosquito. So, and they had a party on my ankles. Oh my God. The next day, my ankles were covered with mosquito bites. I don't like Illinois. But what was funny was, so the party was way in the back of the yard. They have a huge yard. And it was pouring at one point. And people would have to go to the bathroom. So you'd have to run up the yard and get on the deck. And then the deck was slippery. Oh my God. It was like, I was scared. I'm like, okay, I'm breaking my hip for sure, And then the time you got back, you were soaking wet because it was pouring from running back and forth. And then finally, about an hour before the party ends, somebody gets the bright idea, hey, we should have an umbrella down here for people who have to run up there. Yeah, you'd think. But there were two people that I hadn't seen in a while that I'm going to give them a call out. They are my cousin's children. They live in San Francisco. We don't see them very often, but they're awesome kids. Ian and Caitlin. Hey, Ian and Caitlin. Really great kids. Smart as hell. Ian's got 1 more year of college, 1 more year of high school, and then he's off to college. And I know he's going to be something special in this world. And Caitlin's right behind him. Pretty cool kids, but there is one funny party, one part of the party. So my cousin has a screened-in door. He has a slider door going from his deck to his home, and it was pouring, and they were leaving. Ian and his sister Caitlin and my cousin Keith, they were leaving, so Ian took off. He started running through the yard, and he gets on the deck, and boom, he runs right through the screened-in door. He thought it was open, I guess, and through it he went. And that thing came crashing down. I guess he did quite a number on that screened-in door. And the people standing on the inside of the house said it was hilarious. So I know Ian was a little embarrassed. Probably embarrassed that I'm telling it. But as I told you the next day, Ian, Ethan. Oh my God, I'm calling you Ian. Your name is Ethan. Ethan, I am so sorry. See? Pickled brain. Oh my God, Len. I'm not starting this video over to fix that. Sorry, Ethan. All right, please forgive me. You know me. You know Aunt Lan. Anyways, Ethan, he goes through the screen-in door. Ethan, Ian, whatever. Maybe he's got a twin somewhere named Ian. So Ethan runs through, and they said it was hilarious seeing him come from the inside. And as I told Ethan the next day, hey, as long as you've got a good, funny story out of it, you can always embellish it. Who cares? And he laughed, because he was embarrassed, but it's all right. So we were in Illinois. It was fun. I always love seeing we were only in I flew in Friday afternoon and left Sunday morning. So it was an in and out trip. It was not quick. It was quick. I couldn't get to really see any of my friends, but I don't know. I might pop into town later this year. And I have some ideas about I'm trying for some other interviews. So I'm not giving up on that yet. Just because George said no. There's plenty of bears, old and new, that I can try. So, again, I won't be back next week doing the last game, so go Bears. I will be back the week before. I'll do a show the Friday before the September 12th game. And I am so pumped for this season. Regardless of what happened yesterday, I don't care. I cannot wait. Yes, I need this so bad. You have no idea how badly I need this. So, and got to give my shout out to my White Sox. Go White Sox. Yeah, baby. All right, my fellow watchers, I love you. And I thank you for watching me. I did lose 2 subscribers, a little bummed about that, but maybe I'll get 2 more, and then my son will be eating that chew. And as always, please help somebody out, smile at somebody. You never know what kind of day they're having. Give them a helping hand. I don't know if you guys have to wear masks like we do again, so it's really hard to smile at people, but I sure do try. And, it's just good to be kind to people. We need it right now more than ever. All right, my fans? So, as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. Oh, bye-bye.